young black lady, 25-year-old Carlethia Russell, in Alabama. I think it was Alabama. Um, when she went missing in her abduction story, and I was on the edge, and I just asked yesterday. I said, "Did they find her yet?" They found her at 10:45 Saturday night. They say she went missing Thursday night, so she was gone for Thursday, and she returned on her parents' doorsteps on Saturday night. Okay, um, she's in the hospital now, and they still have her in there. I guess pending evaluation and recovery. And I'm listening to the story from the beginning to the end, and I found some news clips and some footage from exactly what I'm talking about. So if you haven't heard, um, we start with the beginning with her allegedly abduction. Okay, if Molly could play this for me, and we'll talk about it.
Hours, volunteers will be combing for clues to try and help find a missing woman in Alabama. 25-year-old Carlethia Russell vanished Thursday after police say she reported a toddler wandering on the side of the interstate. And the last thing her family heard was her scream. Now they're hoping to find her safe and bring an end to this nightmare.
But we just ask everyone to please, 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 wherever you are, if you're not in Birmingham, whatever, they could be in Georgia. We don't know.
Just 2 hours west of Atlanta, a Birmingham area couple making a nationwide plea for the safe return of their daughter. It was Thursday night. Carlethia Russell, known as Carly, was driving home from work on I-459 near mile marker 11. That's when police say she saw something that had her putting on the brakes, reporting that she saw a child walking on the interstate, and she did what so many people would do, stopped to help. Carly made another call to a family member, and that's when everything changed.
At some point, she got out the car. My daughter-in-law could hear her asking the child if they were okay. The child didn't respond, or at least she didn't hear her respond. He or she respond. And then she heard our daughter Carly scream.
That, the last sign of Carly.
Police officers who were already en route to the location of the initial 911 call located the female's vehicle as well as some of her belongings at the scene.
They have found her wig and her hat and her cell phone.
Fox affiliate WBRC obtaining this video of the traffic camera at the moment Carly pulled to the side of the road. You can see a vehicle with its hazard lights on pulling over. Police don't have much else to go on.
A single witness has reported possibly seeing a gray vehicle with a light-complected male standing outside of Carly's vehicle.
They are using any information they get to try and bring Carly home. Her parents hoping for the same.
If anyone sees anything, no matter how minute, no matter how insignificant you think it is, please contact 911.
And we want to go ahead and show you Carly Russell once again. If you know anything about where she may be, go ahead and contact the Hoover, Alabama Police Department. There is a $25,000 reward for her safe return. Very chilling.
Now, that was the first video, you all. Oh, I apologize. Let me go back and let me thank Molly, my super producer, for being here with me today, for rocking out with me. I call him Molly, the CMOS boss. I do want to thank you. I was so excited about this story and heartfelt that I totally forgot my introduction. So please don't charge it to my mind. Don't charge it to my heart. Charge it to this forgetful mind. I need some ginkgo biloba, y'all. But what we were saying, if you're just tuning in or you're just getting in with us, we were talking about women being abducted. And the country in the world for the most abductions is right here in the good US of A. And we're talking about how troublesome it is. And I was sharing with you all, in case you don't know the story of Carlethia Russell, the young lady that was missing. Good morning, Iron. Just let me introduce myself. The birthday boy, he'll be sharing. That's Iron Simmons. Good morning, Slicky Woo Boo. Everybody introducing themselves. Good morning, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm talking about the abduction and how in the United States of good old USA of America, how it's alarming that women and little girls go missing a year. 270,000. We have to run the gambit of the highest missing statistics for our women in the world. And the story with Carlethia Russell, with her being kidnapped, and that was the beginning part of it. Now, women, I'm telling the women and the men too, because some men get abducted too. If you see something like that on the side of the road, of course, your first natural instinct is to get out and assist with the child. But if you don't have a weapon or something to protect you and that child at night, I wouldn't be jumping out the car. I might have flagged another car down for some help. And why there was only one car that stopped? If all of these cars see this child, how busy is that road or intersection? If that's a street that ain't too busy, I might put my high beams on, flash the child, stay in the car with my door locked, with my foot on the gas in case you have to speed off. We watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We know how it works. And them hard pictures never work good for Black people, people of color. That's why we got to think smart. Okay? And then if I'm on the phone, they never said if the little girl was a black or white, or how did you know it was a girl or boy? They never said none of that. They said little taller in the road. I saw on TikTok, right? They thought this man stopped and got out of his car because he thought it was a toddler, but it was a midget. It was a little person. I don't want to be politically incorrect. And he thought it was a little girl. He's like, oh, what this baby doing in the road? He goes and grabs the little girl and pick it up, but it wasn't a little girl at all. It was a little man, So we don't be misled or fooled like that, which that could have been the case. We don't know. All we know that the young lady was abducted, but I wanted to thank her parents and authorities for jumping on that. Do you know that most cases of missing women, people of color, is not reported, do not get the social media exposure? They want to sex traffic me. Yeah, see, they see now they're trying to get my brother. They want to sex traffic him. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just came back from the sex traffic. Okay, Mr. Hove. HOV. But I had the second part of the story. I want to play that for y'all. But just getting in and catching up. We played the first part. Here's the second part.
Is safe and back at home.
Yes, her loved ones of the Hoover woman breathing a sigh of relief after they faced emotional searches looking throughout our state and beyond.
And this morning, we're learning more about what led up to that disappearance. WVTM 13's Patsy Douglas is joining us live from Hoover this morning. Patsy, walk us through the latest timeline from police.
Well, that updated information of what we know right now is that Russell returned home on foot to her family's home in Hoover. She was then taken to UAB to get checked out, but now she's back home. But the days led up to her return has been a journey. Now, Hoover police say Carly Russell left work at the Summit Shopping Center about 8:30 on Thursday night and went to a nearby restaurant in Colonnade to pick up dinner. Investigators reporting that she then got on 459 and started driving home. About 9:30, police say Russell called 911 saying she saw a toddler in a diaper on the side of 459. She then called a relative to tell them about the situation, but the call got lost. Families' concerns grew. During that moment, police rushed to the scene and found her car and belongings on the side of the interstate. After family and crews spent all of Friday and even Saturday searching, she finally returned home about 10:45 Saturday night. And Hoover police say they've had conversation with Carly, but as of now, those details have not been released just yet. Back to you guys.
And Patsy, I'm sure this has been an emotional roller coaster for her loved ones.
Yeah, what are they saying, Patsy, now that she's safe and back at home?
Well, Carly's mom, her name is Talitha Russell, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw that Facebook post, but she is very thankful for the community's support. She also said in that statement that she is thankful for the hard work that many of them have been doing for her daughter, and she also says God is faithful and has answered some of her prayers. We are so grateful to each of you. We all the acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion you have shown. Her mother went on to say that their privacy, as they want privacy as they love on their daughter right now. And of course, she plans on giving out a statement as well very soon on the what exactly happened to Carly, but we haven't got that information just yet. In Hoover, Patsy Douglas, WVTM 13.
See, they still don't know exactly what happened. Who kidnapped her.
Hyundai Palisade.
They still don't know exactly what happened. Who kidnapped her, or let me take that back. The police is not releasing that information as of yet to the public, which I think they should. They should let us know what we should be on the lookout for. And babies and diapers, is it white babies, black babies, what kind of babies and diapers what kind of ring of people is setting this up? It just makes me wonder. I watch enough horror pictures, and in the horror pictures they have some types of bait like that, in the movies where you get out and check on the animal or child or whatever have you, and then that's when you get abducted. Mr. Hoover said that they want to sex traffic him, and all jokes aside, that is a very, very big thing happening all over. And what's so terrible, I read that the people are taken from the United States and shipped to other countries. Could you imagine that you're forced to be a sex slave or servant, a slave of any multitude, anywho, in another country or in another city or in another time, just away from your families and loved ones? That is such a grueling ordeal when you think of it. And she showed up on the doorsteps on foot, people. You couldn't flag nobody down to give you a ride home. You couldn't tell police. You couldn't, I am just flabbergasted. And I'm definitely going to stay tuned because I want to know what's going to be the story behind how she just showed up on the doorstep on foot. She managed to get away from her assailants, her kidnappers, her abductors, and managed to get back home on foot by herself. You just going to be standing on the door, no foot, nobody give you a ride. You ran through from wherever you was kidnapped from. That makes me think that if she showed up like that on foot, that it was somewhere in her area, that was a local. Somebody yanked her up and held her down in the basement and she escaped. Like on that movie, The Chi. Y'all remember the episode of The Chi when the boy's sister, the track star Keisha, got missing and the neighbor abducted her and had her in the basement, raping her over and over again, right down the street. And they looked all over the place and could not find this young lady when the lady the whole time was right under their nose. How often do you think something like that really happens? That's creepy. That's scary. And I thank God I'm going to share a story what actually happened to me. I was 5 years old. And it was the day that it was snowing on the ground. I don't think my mother knew that school was delayed. She sent me out the house to go to school. I'm walking up the street, standing at the bus stop all by myself, standing in the cold and the snow. At the end of our block, the Benders lived there. It was on Bender Road. It's a true story. The Benders lived there, And the son was saying, you cold, come in and you can wait for the bus. There's a delay. It was a grown man and his mom lived there, but I didn't know no better. They come in and get some hot chocolate. I'm a little fat kid, and when he had said some hot chocolate, and I was like, ooh, well, marshmallows. We ain't had no hot chocolate in my house, so I said, well, I could wait for the bus, and then have my hot chocolate and marshmallows, not thinking stranger danger. I just thank God that he was with me and them angels, because I could have gone missing into the walls of that house, because he was showing me all the different animals and pets that he had, and I'm in the basement looking like, ooh. And his mother called down and said, the bus is here. She can come up and get on the bus. And all the other kids started coming outside and get on the bus. You know, it was in the snow. And I'm just so thankful. When I told my grandmother, came home and told my grandmother what happened, I got a whooping. I was safe. They was happy that I was safe, but I got a whooping because you know better to talk to a stranger, a strange white man at that, and you should know better than to go into his house. I don't care what he had. I don't care what he offered you. You know, and that was at 5 years old. I learned a lesson. And not until later years did I understand, what did I do wrong? Why did I get a whooping for that? Because I guess my grandparents was instilling and passed on that you can't trust everything. You are a child, and there are evil people in the world. I got toe up for it. And this type of shit happens every day. It do happen every day, and at an alarming rate. And that's what I'm saying. Slicky said, Reese, where you been? This shit happens every day. Yeah, but did you know 270,000 women go missing right here in the U.S.? 270,000. That's over 250,000 missing every day. And we don't know about it, and we don't see it every day because people of color do not get proper media coverage. They are less likely to get coverage. When I was reading this, the statistics blew my mind. Can y'all guess what the highest abduction state is? The people who get kidnapped the most? What state is that? What state go missing? What state get the kidnappers? Do y'all know that? I'm going to give y'all a rundown because I got the information right here. I looked it up. Top 10 places where women and females get abducted at. Hold up, I'm going to pull it up for y'all in just a smidgen of a second. But yeah, this you're right. It does happen every day. But how come it's not talked about? I had no idea it was 270,000. I had no idea it was over 250,000 people. Did you know that it was that much? Just not in other countries, just in the U.S. Just in the U.S., y'all. And it's the statistics saying right here. Hold up, where's my statistics? Okay, here it go. Right here, I'm waiting for my phone to pull it up. Why didn't it go back to what was up? Well, California comes in first. I had an actual little list. And of course, I lost the list. Oh, it was, and California came in first, leading the pack of missing people. And then the country the state where the most kidnappings, y'all, New Mexico. Go figure. Why are they kidnapping people and holding people for ransom in New Mexico? Let me go back to bring up my history. Back. It's not taking me back to where I need to be. I had my little list. But I did send it, share it in the group, and I had the list of it. So I could go back and I could see it that way. I could go back. But like I said, California had the most abduction. California, Alaska, New Mexico was on there. I need to find my little list, don't I? I know I do. I had it on this daggone phone, using this as like the little second computer where I can go and pull stuff up at, and look what happens. Look what happens. Let me see. Been there, done that. Been there, done what? You've been abducted. You've been snatched, Slicky. They was holding you for hostage. Somebody, see, men do that too. I hear it can get held hostage. He said men do that, as women have held men as well, kidnapped them, just like the Misery Chastity, just like in that movie. Molly, do you have the statistic list? There you go. Molly have it pulled up. The list that I sent, the statistics with all the for the US. Me and my little cheap little phone, it ain't playing nice, like it ain't showing my stuff up. Okay, I think I could pull it up now on the phone. Go back and hit it. Go back and hit it. The statistic. Missing person state by state. Yep, the national, here it is. I got it now. That was the missing person state by state. And I got to make it big. He got the board up there to show you who's up there. And let me see. It got all the states up here, starting with Alaska, Oregon, Vermont, Washington, Maine. Okay, let's look in our area. How many thousands of people are missing in Maryland? I know Maryland made the list. What? Maryland's not on here? Well, okay, Maryland, 2.97 thousand in Maryland. Okay, 2.97 thousand out of 270,000. We got 2.97 thousand. Virginia got 2.74 thousand of y'all going missing. Look, Baltimore is a place on its own. How many people go missing in Baltimore? It ain't on the list. The DMV or the District of Columbia is not on the list. But I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. Let's see. From the top, let's go from the top to the bottom. The top. And the bottom is Massachusetts. Massachusetts and Rhode Island has the least. What? And that's funny. More people that go missing. There's a lot that go in Alaska. Where's California at? Because they just said California was the most. Wow. I tell you, that's an interesting list. But 270,000 people. And I'm so glad that lady, the lady's family, the girl that was missing, I'm glad that her family put out an award for her, $25,000. Her family was on it. If I ever go missing, I will hope that my family would do the same thing. There would be some reward money, some recovery money, somebody to come and look for me or something. Oh, Slicky said, I'm not talking about you. Been there, done that. I'm not talking about you. Your brain is missing. Thank you, Slicky. My brain may be missing, but you sitting on your brain. Because your brain is in your, you know what I mean. You sitting on your brain. How about that? That's where your brain is now. But thanks for the girl's family, jumped into action. He sprung into that. They sprung in at $25,000. If y'all help or know anything to bring my daughter home. That was good and that was great, but nobody helped this young lady to get home. She showed up on foot, they say, on her parents' doorstep. She's still in the hospital being evaluated and stuff like that. That's the same thing that happened on the shot, except Rodney, who got killed on the show, had to go in and save Keisha because he was looking at the way this guy was moving. And he was like, it don't make no sense. The girl was at the bus stop. Then all of a sudden she was gone. So, yep, it was a crazy neighbor that kidnapped that close in proximity that kidnapped the girl, the young girl, and raped her over. And he was trying to take care of her, trying to resemble, I think, his dead wife or something like that. He was sick. He snapped. And he got a woman. He kidnapped her and was going to make her submit, shaved the girl's head and everything. And she never stopped trying to get away. But the dude, Rodney was like the alcoholic or the crackhead, if you say, the neighborhood, the one that everybody looked at as the bum. But the bum was the one that saved the day. The alcoholic and the crackhead was the one that saved the day. Sounds like some untruth to me. Oh, okay. It was a story that they. Oh, you talking about the girl's story about her being abducted and missing? Some people say that it was a prank, that she was getting away. But I'm like, if you're 25 years old, if you wanted to go away for a weekend, why wouldn't you just go away for a weekend? I mean, that perplexed me as well, if there was that. But you show up on your parents' doorstep on foot, and they called the ambulance and everything. They took you to the hospital. She's still in the hospital being evaluated. I could believe that it happened, and it probably was the neighbor. That's probably how she was able to get home so quick, because it was close. It was in the neighborhood. She was coming back with some food and got snatched up. Now, question: they said that her belongings was left behind. They said that her wig, her phone, and even her hat. But was the food left behind as well? Did the people that kidnapped to take the food too? Oh, they was about to party up. They was about to party up. So he said, sounds like some untruth to him. They was about to party it up. But why would you have to do that? Not only do you got, if it is a hoax, it'll come out. Will she be faced with criminal charges if it turns out to be a hoax? Can people get locked up for pulling pranks and hoax like that? If they, that's something big. You would think that there's some type of reciprocity for that, some type of consequences and repercussions for that. I seen shit like this in my own family. People been kidnapped in your own family. People kidnap each other in your own family. Or what you talking about? It sounds, you see that in your own family. The kidnapping, or people are wasting the police officers' money, calling a hoax. I think that is punishable by jail time or something. I think it is. If you do that and you call it a hoax and everything, that's creating drama. But that is using up taxpayers' money. They was looking for the girl, the media, and all that stuff. They do all kinds of hoax all the time. The people get their 10 minutes of fame. Well, I tell you one thing, because it was in the media, and it was in the media all over the world, or not all over the world, but all over the U.S., she definitely got some coverage. She definitely got some exposure. This case got the exposure. Unlike the other cases of women and people of color that go missing, they get no to little media exposure. I mean, is that why it was resolved quick? Because it was on the news? Because it was posting up a nice reward? Somebody's going to snitch and tell something? I don't know. I'm just thankful, and I know her parents are thankful that her story didn't end tragically like a whole lot of other helpless people, men and women. I can't say men and women, but 270,000 of them are females go missing. 200, and that's scary. That is a real scary thing. Female abductions, we go missing. Don't nobody call us in. Don't nobody look for us. till you get to find some body remains. Oh, that was reported in. It ain't on the news like that. Send me the link. I'll tell you. Molly, send him the link. I don't know if his connection is good, but I do want to hear the story about what happened in your family, who was kidnapped, and did you find the person? Were they found? Okay. That part I don't know. Let me see. What is that? Somebody is saying. Okay. So yeah, that definitely. Let me see. That's interesting. But like I was saying, when you look at the story at first, it sounded like a hoax. That she was missing 48 hours and then returned back on the doorsteps. That's people are still saying that's hokey. And people shouldn't be doing that stuff crying wolf. It shouldn't be some experiment or just to see what's going to happen. That's not a good documentary to me, because you worrying your family, your friends, your loved ones, and you causing panic in that area, because now they looking, they're saying people getting snatched up and missing. Now they're looking for babies on the highways, babies in a diaper on the highways or freeways. That don't even sound right. Where did the baby come from? How did the baby get there? Was there any other cause? And if it was just wooded area, like I said, it had to be a busy thing. I would have flagged somebody down. I would have been flagging somebody else down to say, hey, help me here, help me. There's a baby there. There's a baby, you know. I wouldn't get out my car without a weapon. Because if my cousin was on the other end or my family member was listening to me get abducted, it wouldn't have been like, a scream. No, it would have been some thumping around. It would have been some cussing. It would have been, they would have to knock me slam out. They would have to knock me where you would have heard the thud of me hitting the ground. You know, and I would have been telling my cousin, whoever I was talking to, call 911, help, you know. So they do have you thinking, are they playing? Are they doing a test? Are they pulling a prank? Because they do anything for social media nowadays. I see some of the darndest things, and it just blows my mind. People hurting people hurting other people. All this just to get ratings up, just to get likes up, just to get the buzzing going. You know, back when I was coming, they had this thing called a Vine. They said, let's do it for the Vine. But that's when people was doing some ratchet stuff for the Vine. You know, now they going hardcore. And this ain't even a Vine. They just doing it for TikTok. They doing it for likes. You know, like the lady put the Gorilla Glue in her hand. Oh, she had a time. But she became a spokesperson for the Gorilla Glue. People were sending her money for the Gorilla Glue to do surgeries and stuff. People were paying for stupidity. Why do we do that in this country? Why do we reward negative and stupid behavior? Why is that? Why is that? I just want to give another birthday shout out to my brother, Ivan, who will be turning old. I'm not going to tell you age, old man, but he old. He getting old. And it's funny to me because it tickles me. His birthday is July 21st. When is July 21st? His birthday and my niece's birthday, Miss Janae Robinson, birthday is the same day, July 21st. And I think July 21st is the Cancer and Leo. They confused, both of them. Both of them are crazy. They're confused. You know, I've seen the same personality trait in both of them. One's male and one's female. But my niece is just like her uncle. And her uncle is just like her in a sense, you know. But anyway, I just birthday shout out to them in case I forget. later because my mind be going and coming like that sometimes. It do. I ain't even gonna lie. Sometimes it do. But back to what I was saying about the kidnapping and the abduction, and that they're doing anything for the Vine. They're doing it, not the Vine anymore, for TikTok, for social media influencers, and we reward that kind of behavior. They get endorsements. Everybody in the world sending money, thinking that this is a cause. Everything seems to be scam. We grow up in the society now, everything is scamming. You just can't. There's no such thing as normalcy in the United States. There's no such thing as normal living in the United States. No such thing. Let me see. Let me call and harass some people because you can't. People are sending me messages. Oh, thank you. People are sending me messages. I guess because they can't get on the show. I'm not sure why they can't get on or get in. Oh, there go DJ Slicky Woo Boo. Good morning, my brothers. DJ Slicky Woo Boo. Now you're on because you're sharing a story. What happened?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good and clear. You got me?
Good and clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Now back to, I know I done missed the story because I've been fighting with this computer trying to get in. But
we had you. Now it's chopped. We can't hear you now.
No,
we can't hear you.
Story.
Molly, can you hear anything on your end? It's a distortion. We can't hear. Dang. And I know Raleigh was going to be a good one too. Because Slicky has some interesting stories, but that's how it is. When you've been around for a minute, you've experienced something.
Did y'all hear me?
Okay, you back in now. At first we couldn't. And then we could say something else. Slicky, are you still with us? It's froze. He froze. I don't know what happened. Okay, he went out. But like I was saying, if you live long enough, you're going to go and experience and go through some things. And it's just like some of these things are remarkable. But we don't do stupid stuff, but not the people that I know, just for the glitz and glitz and glam. Like that boy they did was doing a TikTok. He crashed a plane, y'all. I know y'all seen it. Molly had some footage of that some time ago. The boy in the plane. First of all, where'd you get the money from to get the plane? How you driving it? And how'd you crash it? But for the likes, for the whatever, the boy in the plane, and he jumped out and crashed the plane. Man, that could have been how some of these damn wildflower fires get started. You crash it into the mountains and the woods, boom, explosion, fire started. These drones could have been mountain and wood. It could have started with that. Shoot, we don't know. All we know is from coming from Canada. Now the bad air is back again. It says, "Hey, Phoenix, checking in. Hey, Erica, Erica also go by the nickname as Phoenix as well. How are you, honey? She's a fantastic director. She was helping Akiva McLean doing a lot of his directing and all of that stuff, producing when we were doing Love and Music. I don't know. Wait a minute. Is this Slicky? Maybe he could tell us the story. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me this way?
Yeah, so go ahead and tell the story.
Because it kept messing up. I can't get it to act right. I don't know what's going on. I done put it in 3 or 4 times. I can't get it to act right.
Okay.
Okay, I got a lot of stories. I'm just breaking in between them. Okay, I had a family member that said she was abducted. Come to find out she was on a crack spree.
Yeah.
I had an uncle to beat this woman up real bad in my grandmother's house. You might as well say he abducted her because they wouldn't let her go home until she semi-healed up.
Wow.
You know, I done seen some stuff. I've seen different people in my neighborhood talking about they were missing and was on like crack spree. One girl had just ran away from home and they had a big thing saying she was missing. She ran away from home saying her father was having sex with her. You know, so what I say with all of that, you got to make sure the story is real before you start using it and saying that, you know, oh, this happened and this is bad. You got to really check shit out.
Yeah. Yeah, you really do. But her parents was convinced that their child was met with treachery. And I'm glad that they jumped on the scene and put in the reward, had it popping, because they was gonna find their daughter. They was gonna find.
She ended up coming home on her own, right?
Well, they don't know how she got there. They said she arrived on their doorstep on foot.
Why she's not telling me? Why she's not telling it?
Well, she is. You mean why they're not releasing it? Because trust and believe me, she had them police was on that, but the police is not releasing anything, and the family saying that they just want time alone with their daughter. Maybe a crazy boyfriend, because there are a lot of instances where the crazy boyfriend abducts and kidnaps, and even kill. So if she's lucky, if it's a crazy ex-boyfriend.
Well, my thing is, people make up a lot of shit. And it's so hard to know what you can believe and know what you can't believe. You got to do some major investigation because they make up a lot of shit.
Oh.
And like I said, I've seen it done in my own family. I've seen one of my cousins made up a lie that my uncle raped her. And she went through the court case and everything, all the way up until they was getting ready to give him time before she came out and told that she was lying. I couldn't believe it.
Wow. Well, that's what they do. But Erica Phoenix made a comment that it's a business for organs and people don't even get. I mean, which she mean abduction and people body parts are taken. Their kidneys and stuff like that, transplant people. You know, I really believe that. You know, that's why I like that movie. What's that? Tourista and the other stuff. People get kidnapped and harvest for their organs. That's why they used to tell people don't go to Mexico or don't go to resort islands like that. They said people will get roofied and wake up with an organ missing. Yep, you go on an organ donors list, definitely. They ask the people questions. It happened to...
But I've seen it, like I said, I've seen it in my own family. And I remember my grandmother wanted to cut me for asking her why she wouldn't let that girl go home after my uncle had beat that girl like that. I mean, my grandma wanted to fight me for asking the question. She reached under her motherfucking hiding space, pulled out her goddamn machete, ready to cut me.
Phoenix, Erica made another point, like the little boy that was found rolled up in the gym mat. Now, I remember that story. You remember that story, Slicky?
No, I don't remember that.
The little boy was rolled up in the gym mat. He went missing. And they had killed the little boy and rolled him up in the gym mat.
What
It's
city
crazy.
was that?
Huh?
What city this happened in?
I gotta go back and I don't remember the city, but I do remember the story. Okay. It says his body was stuffed with paper. They harvested his organs and stuffed them with paper. Little black boy went missing. They took out his inner parts.
Oh, I see that. She said Georgia.
Georgia.
She said it was Georgia.
And that's horrible. I remember that story. Could you imagine your child gone missing? Then when
Yes, I can, because this world is so cruddy. Nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing. And that's wild. Do you know from the time that when I was a kid to now that the grown man, you know, I'm almost 60 years old. I ain't 60 yet, but I'm close. But, you know, to see the change, I've seen in my lifetime, the world changed 4 times already since I've been here.
You said 4 times?
4 times.
4 times, y'all. He said he's seen the world change 4 times since he been here. What
Since I've been here.
What 4 times did you see the change, baby?
In all kinds of ways, in prices, and the way people deal with certain situations, and the way the police officers deal with us as black people, all kinds of ways.
Yeah. I remember coming up as a kid, if we're talking about the drugs and people missing, the weed epidemic. And the weed and the heroin was like around the same thing, because I didn't know hashish and weed was 2 different things. I just thought, you know, drugs was drugs. We went through the drug epidemic of the 70s, then the crack epidemic of the 80s. That looked really gloom and doom. I didn't think we was ever going to get out of the crack epidemic.
Well, that was some of the strangest thing I ever seen in my life when crack came along. What people would do for that stuff. I've seen girls crawl on the floor. I've seen all kinds of stuff. And
then Love Boat, I'm glad that was in the 80s too. But I'm glad that was a short-lived.
Love Boat came out in the 80s when I was in school. I remember Love Boat because I remember I smoked it and it looked like the auditorium doors were way up there some damn way.
I'm glad that water and stuff, that embalming fluid. I'm glad that episode, that era went. And then now, fast forwarded to now, the kids are on a lot of, it's a mixture of everything now.
Oh, yeah, they probably smoking shit. They probably actually smoking some type of shit and calling it some kind of special smoke weed.
When Erica said the boy was 15, the one they stuffed with paper, she said the family wouldn't even known had they didn't hire their own private medical examiner. The state tried to say it was accidental. Everyone in the family knew that it was bullshit. It's because the government, it seemed like it's working with the people sometimes. How the state examiner going to overlook something like that?
No, you saying it wrong, sis. The government is the people. Not working with the people. The government is the people.
Wow. It's the government that's just killing and doing these private. That's what I was always saying, the private investigation. My grandmother used to tell me that they lived in a sundown kind of thing, that you would want to get in the house back when she was coming up. She told me that her aunt, her father's baby sister, was missing. And back then, you get missing, and they were saying that people would cut you up and do experiments and everything on you. And they really believed that. If my grandmother was living to this day, she would tell you that her father, baby sister got stolen, and they were stolen by the medical people. They said people was going around in white coats, snatching people up and doing all kinds of experiments on them because they needed human test subjects.
I can believe it.
And this was in Ghana, North Carolina. This is in North Carolina.
I can believe it. I mean, nothing surprises me on this earth. Nothing. I mean, nothing. I mean, when I hear a story and everybody's like, oh, I'm like, oh, okay. Because, I mean, nothing surprising.
And NYC Playboy, she said they also use us as gator bait. Yep. When I found that out, that was another heart-wrenching thing. And Erica said the drugs that the kids is doing now is meth, ecstasy, plus that the other kids is doing the weed. Don't forget the opioids and different reefer. Don't forget the fentanyl now. All the kids are taking these pills laced with fentanyl. Fentanyl is killing their butt so bad that they give you Narcan.
From crack with fentanyl.
They is really that fentanyl, it'll kill you. I mean, just a touching of it. The police can't even touch it because you could die from touching it. Hey, I don't want nothing. You hear me? Nothing. That if you touch it, it'll kill you, let alone put it in your body. And they lacing stuff with this?
Well, the girl that I'm talking about, she didn't know kid for crack with that shit in it.
Oh, Cookie? Are you talking about what happened to her?
No, I ain't talking about no damn Cookie. I'm talking about the girl I grew up with. She died like that. She went and brought her daughter found in the basement dead in her house, but she had moved in with her daughter. And they hadn't seen her in a couple of days, and her daughter went down the basement, she was down there dead.
And died of
the crack had fentanyl in it.
Fentanyl. And then don't forget they got this new stuff called Zombie, and it's supposed to intensify the high that you get from the drug. She said they putting the fentanyl on the weed. They put fentanyl on weed now? What? They is putting fentanyl on weed. They want to die. These kids, these people, they want to die. They taking these, you're going to get a high right on out of this world. You want to get lifted. They lacing it. They lacing the weed. Wow. See, that's why you got to know your weed man. That's why you got to know where you getting that weed. And you know what, Slicky? It could be the government that's lacing the weed so they can stop the people from doing it, selling it in the streets so everybody can go to the dispensaries and get it.
Exactly, sis. You put it together.
It was like, no.
Exactly. That's what's going on.
See, and they taxing the weed in a dispensary. See, you go on the streets, you're not getting taxed, you get them nice fat sacks. But the dispensary is on a whole different level. And they say that they high get you high.
Let me tell you something. My buddy, a buddy of mine, I ain't gonna say his name, but he gets weed from the dispensary. He came over here one day and smoked just a joint of that shit with me because I couldn't smoke no more of it. I said, man, something ain't right. As soon as I hit it, I said, man, something ain't right.